What's up, everybody? This is Dr. Zeb, and it's so good to see you tonight at the Rehab Christian Center Tuesday Life Study Experience. And I'm grateful to be here and certainly pray that you are as well. And I'm so glad you tuned in. Man, listen, this has been a very powerful series on not being weird, but knowing that you're chosen and called. And it's such a powerful series because, again, I do so much talking and communicating with people, coaching people, advising people, counseling people who so much question their calling and their purpose because of where they are in their lives or the type of calling that they have. And let me tell you something, you're not weird. You are called, you're chosen. And this is, again, just been a series that has been a blessing to my heart because it really speaks to my own personal experience. And so I'm grateful for all of you and glad you tuned in. Now, I got 712. I'm going to read the networks in 60, 90 seconds max. And Pastor's about to get into this teaching. I've got a hard stop tonight. And Pastor's going to get into this teaching because I really want to continue with these 5 signs that you know you are chosen and called. And we'll go back over sign 1 when we get started in a second. So let's go through the networks. Good evening, Facebook. It's good to see you virtually. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuned in via Facebook, do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button, hold it down, turn it into a heart. And then say good evening to everyone in the chat room. And then I want you to hit that share button. I need you to share this video on your page. So how many ever numbers of viewers I've got, I need to have that many shares on all of the pages. Would you do that for me? Would you share it on your page? Even tag somebody, tag 5 people, tell them to tune in tonight for a very powerful 35, 40 minutes of instruction tonight that's going to bless you in a tremendous way. Would you do that on Facebook? And again, make sure you say good evening in the chat room. It's so good to see you virtually. And I want you to know I've been praying for you. Instagram, good evening to you. It's good to see you virtually. And certainly praying that you've been having a phenomenal week. Thank you. You already know the routine. Hit that heart button. And let me see some hearts flying up the screen. And then I want you to hit that @ symbol if you're on Instagram. And I want you to start tagging people, invite people to tune in tonight for a very powerful message on not being weird, but being called, being chosen. And this is going to be a powerful message. And I'm so grateful you tuned in tonight. So share. Come on, Instagram, share. Sister Michelle, so good to see you tonight. And certainly still praying for your family and the family in general, that God will continue to strengthen all of you. Listen, come on, Instagram, hit the heart symbol or the heart button, hit that @ symbol, tag 5 people. And tell them to tune in. YouTube, good evening to you. Those of you that are tuned in via YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, I need you to go find us on YouTube at TheREHABCC. Like our page, subscribe to our channel, and then even feel free to go back and look at the archive of all of our messages that are there, especially those that have been that are there and have been posted there since the virtual space we've been in. And you can go check them out. And we hope you'll certainly do that. But good evening, YouTube. Make sure you say good evening in the chat box. And then I want you to invite somebody to tune in via YouTube tonight. And I promise you it's going to be a blessing to them in a tremendous way. All right, y'all, you got 30 seconds. I'm about to get into this. And we need to get the number up quickly, or we're going to just go with what we got. And I'm really going to dive into this message. I can't wait to teach this one again. This message has really been for creatives. It's been for people who have unique callings, who have a unique purpose in their lives. And remember, we talked about callings and having a purpose that goes beyond church, right? This ain't a message just on church callings at all. And this is really a message for those of you that have a unique calling to do anything unique in your life. And we don't want you to feel like you are weird or so different per se, but that you're chosen and that you're called, and really understanding the impact of that. And so I'm ready to teach tonight. I need you to hit that like button, share button, subscribe button. Do it now. And let's get into the word. Would you help me? Let's get into the word. So again, we are on part 3 tonight. You're not weird. You are called, right? This is part 3. You're not weird. You're not called. You're not weird. You're called, but you're called. And last week, we started with 5 signs you are chosen and called. All right. We gave you 5 signs, or we started with the 5 signs that you know you are chosen and called. Right. And again, this conversation, this lecture is bigger than a church calling. We're not talking about just church callings. It can apply to that, but we're not just talking about that. But it's bigger than that. It's really applying to any area of your life that you feel like, or anything in your life that you feel like you've been called to do. I'm giving you 5 signs to help you know you are chosen and called. All right. So sign number 1 was, and this was from last week, you are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. Right. We talked about this last week. Sign number 1, which was you are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. Right. Remember, we talked about the crowd mentality and the herd mentality, and how so many people are more comfortable being among a crowd of people, and how there are some benefits to being into a crowd, but there are also some drawbacks to being in a crowd. And so again, we talked about the crowd mentality, the herd mentality. We also talked about this mentality of being stuck to a box or stuck in a box, and how boxes confine you and don't expand you. And so again, sign number 1 was you are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. You are completely uncomfortable with crowds and boxes. In other words, you don't have to be in crowds. Your gift, your purpose is bigger than a box. It's bigger than a confined space that anybody can put you in, because of the nature of your purpose and because of the nature of your calling. All right. So that was sign number 1. And we talked about that at great length last week. Now, let's get into sign number 2, because I want all 35 minutes of my time to really deal with this. Sign number 2 that you are chosen and called, and this is going to be so much fun tonight. I couldn't wait to teach it. Is this. Sign number 2 that you're chosen and called is this. You have no desire at all to be called. Sign number 2 that you are chosen and called for real. To anything. This is starting a business. This is having a purpose to help an underprivileged community. This is having a calling to ministry. It doesn't matter. Sign number 2 that you know you are chosen and called for real is when you have no desire at all to be called. When you have no desire at all to be called. This is going to be powerful. Let me tell you why this is going to be powerful. Because what I have learned in my life, my brief life, is that most people that are impactful in their calling really have no true desire to do what they've been called to do. Okay, this is going to be good. All right, and they don't have a desire to do it, not because of a lack of ability. Most times they don't have a desire to do it because of many different reasons. A feeling of inadequacy is one major reason. A lot of gifted and called people that I know that do a variety of things in a variety of sectors or industries, a variety of things, as gifted as they are, they don't feel like they are adequate to do the work or qualified to do the work. And this is important. God never calls people or chooses people who are qualified. All right, hear me. He doesn't always choose people who are qualified, but he always qualifies those he chooses. Okay, doesn't always choose people who are qualified, but he always qualifies those he chooses, which means if he chooses you, he gonna qualify you. And we get the steps backwards. We think we have to be qualified in order to be chosen. I'm here to tell you, you need to be chosen, and then God will qualify you. Doesn't matter what the industry is, whether it's starting a business or it's working in ministry. Don't worry about qualifications. I have this conversation a lot, especially with young preachers. This is a conversation a lot I have with young preachers, and this is also a conversation I have a lot with entrepreneurs as well. Because entrepreneurs will have business ideas and they'll say things like, Dr. Talley, I want to start this business, but I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree in whatever to start this business. And I have to remind them of this very important truth, that when you are chosen to start the business and start the unique idea that you have and that you've been given, don't worry as much about the qualifications as much as you need to worry about being chosen. If you're chosen, God then qualifies you. Those things come after the fact. And I think we have it reversed. We think that qualifications make callings, but callings bring about qualifications. Are y'all listening to me? Callings don't make qualifications. Qualifications don't make callings. Callings make qualifications. In other words, you don't have to put how qualified you are before the calling or how qualified you are before the chosen. You just need to be sure that you're chosen. You just need to be sure that you're called. And if you are called, you are justified. If you're justified, you're glorified, right? This is Bible. In everyday language, if you are called, he gives you the qualifications to do what you've been called. Okay? Sometimes that might mean going back to school in a formal way. Sometimes that could mean going to school in a hard knock life kind of way. I share with the young preachers a lot. A lot of young preachers ask me, did you go to seminary? I want to go to seminary because I've been called to preach, and so I want to go to seminary. Well, there's nothing wrong with seminary. Absolutely nothing wrong with seminary. You may have seen a long post that I put up on Sunday that really ruffled a lot of people's feathers. Ain't nobody saying nothing to my face, but really ruffled a lot of people's feathers about just really this whole idea of only needing Jesus and nothing else, right? And that really rubbed some people wrong, but I hope you understood the context of the post. And it's this: I know what it's like. I watch my father, and I don't know he's tuned in, and hope he doesn't mind me sharing, but I watch my father, tell leaders, hey, I'm going back to school. I was younger. I'm going back to school to get a master's degree. I want to get a PhD, and religious leaders tell, I don't know if you really need it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, PhD won't necessarily make you a better preacher, or PhD or master's degree won't necessarily make you a better business owner per se, depending on what you do. It won't necessarily make you better in those things, but understand there ain't nothing wrong with getting those things either, right? And so I don't want y'all to hear all of this and think or read that status and think, oh, I don't need qualifications. I just need to be called. As long as I'm called, and I ain't got to. No, it doesn't mean that. If you're really called and chosen, God then qualifies you, and how he does it can happen in a lot of different ways. And I share with young preachers, people that are young in ministry, coming up in ministry in terms of tenure experience all the time, that I went to seminary by accident. I think I went for about 2.5 years, only had 1 more year left to go. And I actually went while I was out of work. Was laid off from a corporate position and was out of work for about 6 months and couldn't find nothing. So I just went to school. I'd always had a fantasy about getting a master's degree in divinity. And I actually got 2.5 years in. While I was in school, I ended up starting work in higher education and never went back and finished a year. Now, was the seminary helpful? Absolutely it was. It was helpful. It was great. Some really good knowledge that I received in going into seminary that was helpful, and my preaching and my speaking. However, was it necessary? Not necessarily, right? You can be an effective preacher without seminary. And sometimes we put it backwards. We hear people say things like, oh, I want to be a preacher, so I need to go to seminary first so I can get qualified to preach. No, that's not where you get a calling. You don't get a calling to preach in seminary. You don't get a calling to be a dentist in dental school. Listen to me. You don't get a calling to be a dentist in dental school. You get a calling to be a dentist before you go to dental school. Does that make sense? Okay. You don't just wake up one day. I'm trying to make this very practical. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I want to go to dental school without first acknowledging a calling to be a dentist. Right? If that makes sense, then ministry calling has to make the same sense. You don't wake up and say, oh, I want to go to dental. I want to go to divinity divinity school because then I want to learn how to be a preacher. And that's going to translate into me, being qualified to preach. It doesn't work that way. The same way you make up your mind that I have this calling to be a dentist before you go to dental school, you need a calling before you go to theological school to get your master's in divinity or whatever your route or career is going to be. Because again, the calling always precedes the qualifications. I want you to record that in the notes. Your calling will always precede your qualifications. I didn't understand it then. But my dad would not let me go to seminary right after I preached my initial sermon. In June, I'll be celebrating 20 years of ministry. He would not let me go into seminary right after I did my initial sermon. He said, I want you to wait, 1-2 years and get a foundation under you. And that was very helpful. So when I went to seminary, that was the icing on the cake. It wasn't the cake, right? It wasn't essential, but it was just icing to a foundation that was already built, a calling that was already built. And so if you go to seminary looking to get a calling, just like you go to dental school looking to get a desire to be a dentist, you have put the order in the wrong order, right? And so I just can't stress this enough. You've got to know, when it comes to your calling, most people who are chosen really have no real desire to operate in that gift. Now, I want you to remember this, record this. Most chosen people, okay, record this. Most chosen people are completely oblivious to the depth of their gift and calling. Most chosen people are completely oblivious to the depth of their gift and calling. Most chosen people, most called people, okay, people who are really chosen, people who are really called to do things, are completely oblivious to the depth of their gift and calling. I'm going to explain this. If you think about this biblically, when David was called out of the pasture of the field among his brothers to be anointed by as the next king, David had influence before he had a position. Even in the dirt fields of pasture with sheep and dung and goats and all of that stuff, David did not have a position, but he had a calling before he had a position. He had influence before he had a title. This is very important because most people who are gifted for real and who are called for real tend to have a level of influence or tend to have a depth to their calling or gift that goes beyond even their own awareness. In other words, they influence people on levels that are really deeper than their own understanding. They may not know that they're gifted or called, but few of them have a real understanding of just how deep they're called, right? They may know they're gifted, they may not know they're gifted, but few people that are truly chosen and called just don't know the depth of their calling. They don't know the depth of their influence. There is this natural unawareness that truly gifted, truly called people have that positions them to where what is amazing about them to everybody else is just normal to them. Are y'all listening to me? I feel like a true nerd tonight because this is just really down my lane. People who are really gifted for real, sometimes what is a natural thing to them when you think about their gift is something that's so extraordinary to them. I was laughing. I probably shouldn't be sharing this story. This is not good. I was telling a buddy of mine, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. 4 or 5 months ago, I had to do a presentation for a student group. And it was the day of the presentation. Okay. I shouldn't be telling this story. Because y'all think pastor prepares like this all the time, and it's not true. But it gives context to this point. It was the day of the presentation. I think it was like a 12 noon presentation, and it was like 10 o'clock. And I was prepping for the presentation. It was obviously virtual because we were in this virtual space. And I hadn't prepped. It was 10 o'clock, 2 hours before the presentation, and I had not prepped for this professional presentation with this student group. And I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, look, I hadn't even prepped for this presentation in 2 hours. She was like, you ain't started? I said, no, I have not started prepping. I said, but it's not a big deal. And so I have sticky notes everywhere in my office here. I like sticky notes. I'm a sticky note kind of guy. I put ideas and stuff on in addition to my journal. This is weird. But anyway, I've got sticky notes. And so what I did Like at about 10:30, 11 o'clock, like nearly almost an hour before the presentation, is I grabbed a sticky note. I wrote my topic at the top and I wrote 3 bullet points with supporting points under it, crafted it on this sticky note, read it a couple of times and just sat it on the desk. Did my presentation at 12 o'clock and, got the reviews, evaluations for it. It was an hour and a half presentation. Many students saying, this is one of the greatest presentations I've ever seen. Now, I'm not saying this to brag. This is what I'm saying. That was just not work for me. It was natural. I'm gifted to present. It's one of the gifts that I have. It ain't always been the case. You ask my folks, growing up, I was afraid to talk in front of crowds. My mama will tell you, I'll never forget Patrick Henry Elementary School. I'm standing on the stage, 2nd or 3rd grade, I can't remember. And I had a part in the play and it was a packed auditorium and I stood on the stage and busted out crying. And my mama had to come out the stage and come get me off the stage crying. So if you'd asked me then, if my gift would have been speaking and lecturing and teaching, I would have, no, like I literally almost peed on myself on the stage. You ask my mom, I'm not making this up. But it is a gift of mine that I have that's natural. And when you have a natural gift, those types of things, what seems prepared to other people or seems like a lot of work to other people is natural to you. Many of you have a natural gift. I know people, ladies especially, who are naturally gifted to do hair. Like they do hair really well. They've never gone to cosmetology school. They don't have a license or any of those things. And they're naturally gifted to do it. And they do it in its second nature. And there are people who go to school who pay good money for this, to get a license, to get certified, to do hair cosmetology certified, and get the certification that don't do it as good as the people without the qualifications. When you're naturally gifted to do things, it doesn't matter. It's going to come natural to you. And one of the things I've discovered about incredibly gifted people is incredibly gifted people don't necessarily have to work. And this is a blessing and a curse. I could talk about this all night. This is a blessing and a curse. They don't necessarily have to work at their gift because their gift is natural to them. And when you have a natural gift, you sometimes can then take the gift for granted. And so part of your giftedness needs to know how you should prepare and when you should prepare and how much you should prepare, right? But I've noticed that people that are naturally gifted, what seems great to other people is just normal to them, right? I look at musicians. I used to be in the musical space for a long time. And man, I had to work to be able to play the little bit that I could play. In some senses. In other senses, when I was really in that gift and wasn't in ministry and all I did was music, there were things where I could just sit down, hear a piece and just play it. And it was natural. And I know musicians like that. When you're naturally a gifted musician, you didn't need classical training. I took my first course in reading music my sophomore year at University. And they were teaching us how to read. And here I am, 19 years old, never learned how to read sheet music on a keyboard. I knew how to read sheet for trumpet. I was a first chair trumpet player, but never knew how to read keyboard sheet music. And the instructor's teaching the piece. And what am I doing? Because I'm trained and gifted to play by ear, I'm memorizing the piece. And the other people are pecking away, learning how to play. And I'm sitting back there playing it. And he's like, how did you learn how to read it? And I'm like, I did learn how to read it. I'm gifted to hear. He was like, no, you can't act like you don't hear it. You got to read it. But it was second nature. When your gift is second nature, it ain't work. And let me put this out in the atmosphere to you. Many of you, I talk to a lot of people a lot. Dr. Talley, Pastor Talley, I have a gift to do this. I know I have a gift to do this. I really want to do it. How do I know, though, that I should pursue it? How do I know that this gift is really the thing that will make room for me? And it's simple. When you are operating in your purpose, it'll never feel like work. You should put it in the comments right now. When you are operating in your purpose, it never feels like work. Never. When I'm teaching to you all on Tuesdays and Sundays, or in a building teaching and preaching, it don't feel like work. It feels normal. When you're operating in your gift, if your gift is, being a chef, right? Many of you, I've got some chefs on the line. Elder Missy, Sister Lori, I think is on the line. A lot of people that are chefs on the line. When you're operating in that gift and you're a chef and you're baking stuff, fixing it, don't feel like work to you. That's your gift. Like you in your sweet spot. And so one of the ways you can really identify your purpose is if one, when you know you're doing it and you're doing it well, it doesn't feel stressful. It doesn't feel like work. I have gone through some very troubling and tough times in my life, even in being in ministry or as a professional. I had tough things going on in my life personally or whatever. And it's crazy that once I then got into work, if I was teaching in higher ed, if I was teaching, for rehab, if I was doing a workshop or seminar for Inspire, which is my consulting business, whatever, I could have all of these things going on in my life, right? Swirling my life. But when I was in front of the camera or in front of the office audience, it's like a light switch goes off. And I can't describe this, y'all. I'm trying to describe this as best as I can so that all of my gifted people understand where I'm coming from. When you're in your gift, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. You can be in the middle of your gift and a switch goes off. Whether that gift is speaking or being an entrepreneur or singing or playing or crocheting, baking, it doesn't matter. When you're in your gift is greater than external circumstances. And you can be dropped in your gift and have a lot going on in your life. But your ability to operate in that gift and do it well will consume all anxieties or worries concerning what's going on in your life or external factors. It's just something about it. For that 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 60 minutes, 2 minutes that you're operating in that gift, it's like nothing else is going on. And you talk to an athlete, they describe this, and I talk a little bit about this in my 4th book that I'm tidying up now. They describe this as the zone. If you talk to an athlete who's ever been an athlete before, they call it a zone where you out there, you hot, you ain't missing a bucket, you catching every pass, whatever. And it's like for a second, everything slows down. Nothing feels sped up. Nothing feels rushed. There's no worries. You're in your zone and your gift isn't a strain, it's easy. And so you're going to know when you're operating in your purpose for real and your calling and your passion for real, when the gift doesn't feel like a strain, when the gift doesn't feel like it's something difficult to do or challenging to do, but it is something that you're operating in an effortless kind of way. All right. And so because of this, because your gifting feels natural, because it feels normal to you, even when it feels great to other people, this is what makes naturally called people not pressed about a gift or a calling. I'm going to say this again. People who are oblivious to the depth of their calling, people who have no desire to be called because their gift is so natural, because their gift is so normal to them, they're not pressed about a gift or a calling. They're not pressed. And this is the best example I can give to make this make sense. I don't want to be offensive, but I just been on a roll here lately, so I might as well keep going. One of the worst things that I hate to see anybody do, especially when we talk about gifts and callings, when it comes to things like ministry work, I think one of the worst looks you can have as a minister is to actually be out here asking people if you can preach at their church. Right? You're elder, minister, pope, apostle, cardinal, archbishop, second archbishop, cosmopolitan bishop, whatever you are. And you out here passing out business cards, docking people, telling about some, can I come preach at your church? Can I come do a revival? It's one of the worst looks you can do. Why? Because when you got a real gift and a real calling, you ain't pressed about your turn. Watch this. Let me give you Bible. Your gifts make room for you. You don't have to make room for you. And people who are naturally gifted never spend time making room for themselves. In other words, this is so good. People who are naturally gifted, who are not pressed about their gifts, let me tell you something else they struggle with. They struggle with self-promotion. I'm dropping gems. People who are naturally gifted, who ain't pressed about their gift, it's the real deal. They struggle with self-promotion. Look, y'all, I launched a YouTube channel last week. I got another video about to drop this week. Do y'all know how many students and people, professionals I have prepared through my public speaking over my career? I've literally prepared more than 20,000 people. I'm not making this up. I've literally prepared more than 20,000 people through what I do and have done in just my higher ed work alone. That ain't counting church. I'm talking higher ed alone. It took me years just to get the guts to start a YouTube channel. I should have had a YouTube channel for years ago. But you know why? One of the things, and I'm just being transparent with you, one of the things I've always struggled with was promoting myself. I've struggled with promoting myself. I don't like to take pictures. And so I did a photo shoot recently, a couple of months ago. I don't like to take pictures. I struggle with promoting myself. And it ain't false humility. It's the real deal. I'm not pressed about what I do and what my gift is. And I'm not pressed about it being my turn. Because I just know that my gift will create those opportunities. I don't have to look for them. Those opportunities will look for you. Those opportunities will find you. And so when you know you're naturally gifted, right? And you know you have this natural calling, you're not going to be pressed on it. And I want you to remember this, and this is important. A pressed person might be gifted, but they are not chosen. I want you to record it. A pressed person might be gifted, but they ain't chosen. I don't care how gifted you are. If you are pressed, you are not chosen. If you are pressed, you might be gifted, but you're not chosen. Because see, when we're dealing with chosen people, we're talking about effectiveness. And I'm going to deal with that. That's one of my last bullet points for tonight. But when you're chosen, we're talking about being effective. And yeah, you can be gifted, but it don't mean you're going to be effective. You can be gifted, but it don't mean you called and chosen. It doesn't mean that. Let me just give a basic example. You may be gifted. Let me use this as an example. You may be gifted. You may be a gifted cook or chef, right? You may be a gifted chef, can cook everything, prepare any kind of dish, right? You may be gifted to do that, but it don't mean you've been called to start your own business. Are y'all listening to me? You could be gifted to cook and prepare food, but it doesn't mean you're called to be an entrepreneur. It involves some of the gifts, but it is a deeper level of effectiveness that's involved in order to run a catering business, right? Or to run a restaurant or a food truck, whatever, which are, very popular now. And so I think we blur the lines. Preachers mess up in this space. Preachers preach a few revivals when they start the first 2-3 years, and what they do, they go out and start a church. and it's crazy, because if you know anything like me, you just keep preaching and leave the pastoring alone to people who've been called to pastor, because it's not the same. Pastoring is 5% preaching and 95% other stuff you don't want to deal with. So this is the best example that I can give you, in that a person who is pressed about their gift doesn't necessarily mean they're chosen. All right. And so you're going to know you gifted for real. You're going to know you gifted and called for real when you're not pressed about your gift. You're not worried about your turn. You're not worried about when is my time. You ain't begging God every other day. God, when is it my time to launch my business? God, when is it my time for a door to open for me? God, when is it my time for me to get the microphone? When is it my time, for me to do whatever? You're not pressing God like that. Because when you gift it, this is what you do. You keep your head down. You continue to craft your gift. And as you're crafting your gift, opportunities are created for you. And when those opportunities are created for you, because your gift has been crafted, when you walk through that door, you are prepared. I can't tell you the number of people who had a little bit of gift, but had great connections, who were given big doors, but were not prepared, walked through the doors and fell flat on their face, because influence opened a door, but a lack of preparation did not sustain them behind the door. Are y'all listening to me? Influence can open a door, but it's preparation that's going to make you effective when you walk through there. Which means for many of you, whether it's your gift to start or operate a business, whether it is an open opportunity for you to be in that dream career, maybe it's an opportunity for you to be called to minister or pastor or whatever, I don't know, whatever your calling is. Many of you, big opportunities haven't come and you waiting on God to give you an opportunity. But this is what God's doing. God's delaying the big opportunity to give you time to prepare for the opportunity. So you think that the door ain't being open, but the reality is you standing in the hallway and God wants you to prepare for the door that's about to swing open, because the worst thing that can happen to you is that you walk through an open door that you have not been prepared for. I feel like I'm teaching better than y'all saying amen tonight. The worst thing that can happen for you is that you walk through a door that you have not been prepared to walk through, because you got a little gift and you connected to some people that's got some influence, and you walk through this huge door, but you're not prepared for it, which is why I ain't pressed for people. Hey, doc, come preach my convention. I ain't pressed for that. Whatever is prepared for me at the time that I am in the season that I'm in, that door is going to naturally and organically open. And when it opens, it's only going to open because I'm prepared for it, not because I'm qualified for it. There are doors that will open for you that you may not be qualified for, but God never opens a door that you ain't prepared for. Are y'all listening? He never opens a door you're not prepared for. He may open a door you ain't qualified for, but he never opens up a door that you're not prepared for. He prepares you, and then when you get in the door, he will then begin to qualify you, and he'll pull from your past and pull from your experiences to qualify you after he's done it. But you ain't going to be pressed on the gift. You're not going to be pressed on the gift because you know that you've been chosen to do what you've been called to do. All right. Here's the other thing that I want you to remember. This is big. You ready? This is going to make some of y'all upset. You ready? Here's the other thing that I want you to remember, and then I'm done. Most chosen people, I want you to type this. Most chosen people have no real desire for the spotlight and sometimes the gift. Most chosen people that I know, most called people that I know, have no real desire for the spotlight and sometimes for the gift. Most chosen people that I know have no real desire for the spotlight and sometimes no desire for the gift. I can't stress this enough. I've shared this with Rehab before. My daddy used to get on my nerves. I know he's probably tuned in. He's heard this story a million times. My daddy, when I was at Martinsville Middle School, and daddy was dropping me off, 7th grade, he was dropping me off for school. I would get out the car and dad'd be like, "See you later, preacher." I was in 7th grade and I hated it so bad that when I got out the car, I would slam the door. Slam the door. I'd be walking in school with tears running down my face. Daddy keep calling me a preacher. I don't want to do this. I'm not trying to do what he do. I don't want to do that. Couldn't stand it. And he did it for years. Have a good day at school, preacher. See you later, preacher. I could not stand it. I hated it. And I hated it so bad that when I went to Radford University as an undergrad, and y'all better hear me, I did everything I could to not be called a preacher one day. And you can read all between the lines. I went to Radford and showed my natural. I did everything I could, hoping that God would wipe the calling off of me. You know why? Because most people for real that's called, that's chosen, that's gift, they don't even want it. And here's the crazy part. People at Rehab meet me. People join our church, meet me. I look like a clean-cut guy, and then I'm preaching on stuff like thotting and clubbing and being out all night and still having grace. And they and my members will walk and be like, Pastor, you really preach this word. But I don't understand how you experience understand this stuff. And they don't even realize that what qualified me to be effective is the stuff I tried to do to walk away from the calling. This is too much tonight. Are y'all? Sometimes you can do stuff to try to walk away from a gift that in the process ends up qualifying you to walk in the gift that you have, which means all things are still working together for the good. Even when you don't want a gift, even when you don't want a certain calling in your life, whether it's ministry or starting a business or whatever, even if you don't even realize that when you got a calling on your life, even when you are not in position, you in position. Man, I feel like taking a whole lap around this house. I could scream right. Are you like, even when you are not in position, when you got a calling, you in position. You don't even be trying. You really be trying to walk in the opposite direction. But when you got a calling in your life for real, when you out of position, you still in position. Because the calling that you have is greater than your position. So that's what I've learned about gifted people. Gifted people, called people, chosen people, all possess a burning desire to be normal. Are y'all listening to the old man tonight? Gifted people, called people, chosen people, all possess a burning desire to be normal. While a lot of these chickens and chicken heads running around out here dying to get a spotlight, a microphone, be on a flyer, do all of this stuff, truly gifted, effective people in whatever space are looking for the seat furthest in the back, furthest away from folks, furthest from the spotlight, because they're not thirsty for none of that. They can wait their turn. They can wait until it's their time. And when it's their time, they step into it seamlessly because the gift has prepared them for what they've been called to. Most of the most effective people that I know ain't running to a microphone in a church. A lot of the best business owners that I know didn't necessarily even go to school and get a 4-year degree. They had a burning gift. They had a calling and they had a gift inside of them. And this gift was so powerful that they operated in it, but they never operated it in the guise of spotlight. They operated it in the guise of just wanting to be normal. They were doing what they were doing, not to be seen, but to be effective. And watch this. Anybody, I don't want y'all to forget this. Anybody who wants the spotlight might be gifted. You might even be called, but you'll never be effective. I put that on everything I have. Listen to me. People who want the spotlight might be gifted. People who want the spotlight might even have a little calling on them. But I bet you anything, people who want the spotlight will never be effective. They'll never be effective. Let me tell you something. People who are gifted and have a real calling, they're not running towards no spotlight. They're running towards a space where they could utilize their gift. And they ain't even really honestly running towards that. They're allowing those spaces to run to them. That's what they're doing. I didn't run to ministry when I left Radford. Are you kidding me? And we even had some people that tune in that went to school with me, right? They'll tell you. Dr. Talley was far from thinking about ministry. I had a blast at Radford. You hear me? Let me not mess around and get tickled tonight. I'm being honest. I had a whole blast at Radford, and it's the truth. I wasn't running towards opportunities to use my gift. I was running the opposite direction. My gift was over there, and I was running way over there, like way in the back of the club, against the wall, way in the back of the house party, against the wall, mashed up against the wall, in between two thieves. You hear what I'm saying? Don't y'all ask me what up against the wall between two thieves means. Just read between the lines. Pastor was not running towards a gift. And I knew then what I was gifted to be. I knew it. Deep down inside, I knew it. But I was running hard, because gifted people don't run towards a spot. They ain't even really tripping off their gift at all. Gifted people run the opposite direction. So here I was with my skinny, bony self in Radford, knowing I was gifted to be something, called to be what I'm doing now. But boy, every house party I had a chance to go to, I was there. And I was not only there, I was present and accounted for. Y'all not listening to me. I'm being serious, because I didn't want to run towards it. And that's natural for really naturally gifted people who don't want a spot. They don't want all of that. Right? And so I can't say this enough. For people who had no real desire for the spotlight, this is so important. Their desire to be normal is authentic, right? It ain't something you force. You know, people, it's so funny. People be in church, you know, and acting like they don't really want to sing. And you call them and be like, who, me? You want me to sing? Yeah, you've been sitting over there. Your mouth been dry the whole service. You've been looking for the microphone, somebody to pass you the mic so you can sing. Get up here and sing. I'm not talking about forced authenticity. I'm talking about a natural authenticity. I'm going to lift her name out. I don't think she listens to our broadcast, but she's friends with me on social media. But I'll lift her up. Sister Selena Hairston. Sister Selena Hairston is a great family friend of ours. She goes to Greater New Bethel Church in Martinsville, Virginia. And, you know, Sister Selena comes from a family of singers. Blow, her brother, Robert Blow Harrison, one of the greatest organists I ever sat under, who took me under and showed me some things, a lot of things. But all of the sisters, Red, all of them could sing like crazy. But let me tell you something about Selena. All right. And if y'all are friends with her, tag her, maybe she'll see this video. And I didn't appreciate it much then, though we had some commonalities that I didn't even realize until I got older. One of the things I recognized about Sister Selena is every time we would see her at, church or whatever, she would be in services and people knew she could sing. She wouldn't come. She would walk in services very unassuming. And this was authentic. She would walk in church very unassuming. She would be in the choir stand singing with her church choir, not trying to be in the front, in the back, in her section, very unassuming. And a song could be going on. You know how a good church song be going on, and they, have a lead singer, and then the lead singer pass the mic, and they would wave for her sometimes. Hey, come get the mic. And Selena would just kind of have a look on her face like, okay, and it was normal. And you would look and almost wonder if she really wanted to sing, but then would get the mic and kill us. Like, kill us. And you would just be like, but her whole posture is one of gentle, authentic, being genuinely authentic, genuinely humble. Like, wasn't tripping off the spotlight, but man, if you gave her the mic, would wipe the place out. And to this day, one of the best but most humble singers I've ever been around. And her whole countenance and character was not, let me go find a microphone. It was just, let me sit in the background. I ain't tripping. I'm good. I didn't come to the concert to sing. I'm good. I'm just in the background. You have other singers that go to musicals that come to get the mic passed. She was not like that. Never been like that. Just very humble, laid back. But it was a reflection of the fact that she had a desire to be normal. And people that I know who are very gifted have this desire to be normal. They don't want to be so different. I can't explain this. I don't feel like am I explaining this well? I don't feel like I'm explaining this well, but it's just true. Like, you don't really want the stuff. You just want to be, the cheer song. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. That song, right? You ain't really trying to be, you ain't trying to be like everybody else per se. You just want to fit in. Like, you're not trying to stand out because you gifted a call to, you just trying to be normal. And that's natural for people who are authentically gifted. They want to be normal. It ain't forced. But this is also what makes them very quirky. This is also what makes them a little weird, right? They have quirky tendencies. And it's natural. They just don't want to be in the spotlight, right? Elder, help me with my words because I'm struggling. Because this really touches me inside. They just want to blend in, right? God bless his soul. Bishop Graves, you all have heard this story. Bishop Graves is the first person I preached my revival for. But Bishop Graves was good for this stuff, and I hated it. And I used to always fuss about it. He was good. You come visit Bishop Graves' church, Greater Met, on a Sunday, and you're a preacher. What Bishop Graves do? Either while he's preaching or when he finished, Reverend Talley, come on, have the last words and dismiss us. I don't want to have the last words. I hated it. And I would get in the back and he'd be like, you hated I called you up there. Yeah, I did. I ain't got to do, I came to just sit in the back for real and just blend in. Yeah, and would hype you all the way up. Oh, the next voice. Man, just no, man, no. I've been in church all day. At my dash, I don't want no mic. Just let me sit in the back. I don't want that. And they'll talk about some, you do that, Pastor. Well, maybe I do. Oh, well, Elder Misty. But it's the truth. People who are naturally gifted, man, they don't want no spotlight. They really don't. And it makes them come across as aloof or odd or standoffish. I ain't standoffish. It's just that I want to be normal. I do. I'm even growing to a place now, and I close with this because I'm done tonight. It's 8:04. I didn't even mean to run this long. This is something I can talk about for hours. I've even grown to a place now where even in my personal life, my private life, this is going to sound so bad. I don't even really want to hang around people. I know my members would, right? So if I'm hanging around my members or my board or people at my church that I'm closer to or whatever, they're going to always acknowledge me as pastor. They're going to always do it, right? And I'm okay with that. And there's a respect that comes with that. And I'm okay with that. And so, but unless it's them, like, I don't even want to, if I were to have a get together at my house or go to a get together and I'm around friends, I want to be able to go around people where I can just be Zeb. I know that sounds probably weird to some of you, but I ain't trying to be Dr. Zeb all the time. And Pastor Zeb, and the gift doesn't shut off. I can be at a cookout and people drunk and high, and I still get a word. I can get a word. Like the gifts and the callings of God without repentance. When I was at the club in Radford, up against the wall, squeezed between two thieves, I could still get a word. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? See, because I can really add on to this sign number 2. You know you ain't got no desire to be called, right? We said that's design, sign number 2. You have no desire to be called, but I can take that a step further. Not only do you not have a desire to be called, but you can be in places you ain't got no business and still feel the calling. Y'all, I know it. Boy, I need another hour. You can be in places where you have no business and have a calling on your life. And be in places you have no business and still be getting a contact on the calling. Period. The gifts don't shut off. It comes without repentance. And so as I'm getting older, and they will. Elder Miss said, you teaching tonight, Elder Miss. I should have let you co-teach this with me because you on fire. Elder Miss said, and the folk that don't know church will call it out. It been there, man. Been there. I've told the story before. Justin Jordan's funeral. Justin went to Radford with us, and he and his sister tragically passed in a car accident together months after graduation. And a year after graduation. I remember going there, and I just preached my initial sermon. And some of the fellas I used to hang with, one of them, brief reaction was like, yo, Zeb, I heard you was in ministry. Like, yeah. It's like, yeah, man, that makes sense. You ain't never fit in with us, no way. And I felt this small, but he was telling the truth. Now, I had a great time, but he was telling the truth. Like, when you got that, it never cuts off, and people can see it. And some of y'all out here twerking, but we know you anointed. Yeah. Let me shut this. Did y'all hear what I said? Some of y'all out here twerking, and we know you anointed. You twerking, but we know you anointed. You dropping it like it's hot, but we know you anointed because we can see the gift. Some of y'all are here in school trying to get your 4-year degree, but we see the gift of starting your own business and working for yourself. We see that. You're the one going to school. Nobody told you to go get that degree. Somebody said anointed twerker. It's the truth. It's the truth. Because how do you know, Pastor? Because I've been there. And people ain't even got to be saved. And when you got a gift for real and a calling for real, they can see it all over you. I ran with God. They won't say anything about no churches like I won't. But they could see that something different about this dude. Like, he run with us and we let him run with us. We let him do what we do, and he does that stuff too. He does it well, but there's still something different about you. You hang with us, but you different, and they know it, and you know it, and you just a target. You dropping it, popping it, stop it, drop it, stop it. If I hit Alexis Sky, you doing all of this stuff. When meanwhile, we just laughing at you because we know you gifted, and this is why. And this is going to kind of get me into next week. I can't go here. I got to shut off the broadcast. It's 8:09. But this is why gifted people, called people, chosen people, especially in the context of ministry, need to be connected to people who allow them to be who they are. I don't have time to deal with this. But you take anybody who's got a real gift and a real calling, and you never surround them with people that just allow them to be Zeb or allow them to be Mike, or allow them to be whoever they are, Susan, Misty, allow them to be who they are. If you take people like that and you never put them around people who will just allow them to be who they are, what ends up happening is their gift makes them dysfunctional. They become addicted to the gift, and they cease from being able to function aside from the gift. Let me wrap up. Are y'all listening to me? You cease from being able to function aside from your gift because all you know is your gift, and all you do is surround your people who just want the gift, and they don't want you to just be you. And this is why I've learned as I've gotten older that what has really balanced my ministry and my life, honestly, is that in the privacy of my home or in the privacy around friends or people that I really trust, to just be able to be Zeb, not hitting me with questions about baptism and rehab. Y'all know how I feel about this. Don't go out to eat with me and start talking to me about baptism. I don't want to talk to you about baptism and we eating at Ruth's Chris. I'm not about to talk to you about Acts 2:8. I don't want to hear one Lord, one faith baptism. I don't want to hear none of that. I'm eating. We can talk about this steak I'm eating, this lobster mac and cheese. We can talk about the games. We can talk about business. I don't want to talk about that. And I know that offends many of you, but what that does for the gifted, for real, is it creates balance. So I'm not addicted to my gift, which is why the pandemic didn't kill me. Not being able to preach every Sunday in a building did not kill me. I'm not addicted to my gift. I'm gifted, but I ain't addicted to the gift. I quit. Let me shut down. This bless anybody tonight? Man, I feel like going another 30 minutes. See, there's a lot of gifted people, especially in ministries, who are addicted to their gift. They are addicted to a gift instead of just being balanced and being gifted. I'm gifted, but I ain't addicted to it. If I never preach in a building ever again, and I were to teach from this format forever, I would be okay. Because I'm gifted to be effective. I'm gifted to teach. I'm gifted to empower lives. You don't need a stage for that. And see, people get addicted to the gift. And when you get addicted to your gift, you become a gift junkie, which is why some people can only function when church is over. And when church closed, they struggle behind closed doors. And I ain't talking about people running the street. I'm talking about folks that dress up communion fresh every Sunday. They struggle during COVID, y'all. I mean, they just had to be, you know why? Because they are addicted to gifts. Let me stop. This bless anybody tonight? See, when you gifted, you don't care nothing about being popular. You just want to be effective. And part of being effective and part of your desire to be effective is not trying to win a popularity contest. I remember when we started this virtual environment, I used to always check the number. How many people tune in? Man, forget that number. I don't care nothing about that. Y'all share the video, tag 5 people, and I'm going to just let the word do the work. I'm going to let my gift and the effectiveness that God's given me to do the work. Some of y'all counting numbers. I'm counting how many people get saved. I'm counting how many emails I get literally every week from people saying, I ain't never heard the word explained like that. And I just can't stop reading now all of a sudden. That's a win. That's a win. It ain't going to get you on a convocation stage, but it's going to make you effective. And so truly gifted people could care less about winning a popularity contest. Truly effective people, gifted people just want to be effective. They want to make an impact. And if people happen to see the impact, great. If nobody sees it, somebody's going to experience it. That's all that matters. I was so blessed as you're typing your prayer requests. Come on, would you type your prayer requests? Because I got to wrap this up. It's 8:13. I done went way over. I was so blessed. Brother Arthur tagged me in a picture on my Facebook page of the very first giveaway we did, Rehab, in 2012. And our giveaway amounted to me, Brother Arthur, Sister Stanita Thomas. I think Sister Patricia went with us that first round. Elder Missy, I can't remember if you were with us that first round. You may not have been. It's like 4 or 5 of us. And we got in a car. This is back in 2012, before people was giving away gas, before people was giving away food and having food drives, churches. It's back in 2012. He posted the pictures on my Facebook. And we got in the car, and I said to them the Sunday before, I said, listen, God is just giving me a vision to just give some stuff away. Give away gas. Let's put some gas in people's cars. Let's put some food in their houses. And people where nobody was doing that. Come on, type in your prayer requests. I see them coming in. Nobody was doing it at the time. And we got in a car and was just riding around from gas station to gas station, jumping out, walking up on people saying, hey, can we put some gas in your car? And folk was looking at us like, what? And we just got out the car and we was putting gas in cars. And we did our first food giveaway, 2100 East Wendover Avenue, the Donnacon Event Center. The place where y'all do try it old school is where Rehab started. We would literally come in and set up for church on Sunday morning, and there would be bottles on the floor. And God in that building gave us a vision to feed the city, to start giving away free food. And you look up years later now, and churches are giving away food and blessing the community and giving away clothes. Now, our church ain't the biggest church in the city, But guess what? Rehab was one of the trailblazers in giving things away in this. Nobody was doing it in 2012. So here's the point. Do you want to be popular or do you want to be effective? You got your gift. Do you want to be popular with that gift or do you want to be effective? If you want to be effective and your gift will then open doors for you. Right? That makes sense? Come on, y'all. I want you to type your prayer requests in the comments. I'm giving you 30 more seconds. I see you all starting to type them. Good. Keep them coming. Very good. Come on, Instagram. Type your prayer requests in the comments. You got 30 seconds. I've run way over. I didn't mean to do it. This really touches me. I can talk about this forever. Yeah, Brother Dwayne sent me a video, Donna Khan. That was just really something. Yeah, we were real low key. We weren't even low key, unorganized. We didn't even have a food table. Brother Elder Darren, God bless his soul, when he was alive, he was volunteering to let us use his grill. Like, we were just real low key. And before you know it, it went from feeding a few hundred people to feeding over 20,000 and sparking a movement in the triad that had never been seen. And people that's been around that long have to admit that in 2012, nobody was doing that but us. I'm not saying this to say take credit. I'm saying do it with the right intentions. Exercise your gift with the right intention, and your gift will open doors for you. Come on, y'all. Let's pray. Connect hands like this is a sign, symbol of faith. Wow, what a powerful message tonight. I really hope this blessed somebody. Connect your hands like this is a sign, symbol of faith. All right, y'all ready? Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, thank you tonight for your word. Thank you for reminding us of the importance of being called and understanding that we're chosen and the impact that our gifts has on that. Help us, God, to refine our gifts and to focus on our calling more than we focus on our qualifications, so that we don't put the cart before the horse, so that we don't put qualifications before the calling, but we focus on what it is that you've chosen us to do in life, business, ministry, family, career, whatever, so that we focus on what it is that you've been called us to do. And we allow that focus to then open the door for you to qualify us to do it well. God, I pray tonight that you would qualify every called person to do what they've been called to do well. I pray, God, that you would qualify every chosen person who's been chosen to do what they do, that you would qualify them to be able to do it and do it well. Tonight, God, for every prayer request that's come across this line, we speak to these requests. And we ask, God, that you would answer the prayers of your people. Touch those that are dealing with death and illness and job transition, family transition, health issues, whatever the challenges may be. I speak to these requests now, and especially to those requests of people who are praying for the needs of others, who are praying for the interest of others, that God, in the process of us seeking the needs of others to you, that you would then begin to answer our prayers, that you would then begin to open doors for us and make ways for us. God, I pray now that this week, you would let this week be a week filled with miracles and open doors, that you would make ways for your people, that you would make ways for these requests that are being typed in the comments, that are being emailed to the inbox now, that you would not only answer the prayers, but that you would do exceeding and abundantly above what we could ask or think. God, we thank you for these things tonight. We believe you for a week filled with victory. We believe you for a week filled with answered prayer. And we count these things done in Jesus' name. Amen. Come on, type in the comments quickly. It is so. It is so. It is so. Come on. It is so. Type it in the comments now. It is so. It is so. It is so. It is so. God's answering prayers for you. God's making ways for you. God's opening doors for you. God's meeting needs for you. I want you to put it in the comments right now. It is so. It is so. As you're typing it, let me challenge you quickly for 30 seconds to give tonight. If this message has blessed you, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give tonight. You should see our mediums of giving on the screen, or you should see our moderators placing that information in the comments. I want to challenge you to give tonight. If you don't have a ministry to tithe into, you can certainly tithe into our ministry. This is great ground, proven ground. And we challenge you to do that, to sow a seed tonight into our ministry. And we know that God will bless you in a tremendous way. So I want you to give. There are 3 ways you can bless us really quickly tonight. via Cash App, $REHABCC Give. That's $REHABCC Give. You can bless us through our website by visiting www.rehabcc.org. That's www.rehabcc.org. And choose online giving, or you can text Rehab Works. Text Rehab Works to 88202. It's Rehab Works to 88202. And right to your cell phone, you'll see the prompts, follow the prompts, and you can give right from your cell phone. I want to challenge all of you to give. I want to thank those of you that participated in our Super Sunday, Super Seed Capital Campaign Sunday, this past Sunday. And if you did not participate, you still have an opportunity to do that tonight. And you can give your Super Seed through any of these mediums tonight. But I want to challenge you to give. If this message, if this ministry has been a blessing to you, if this broadcast has been a blessing to you, if the word that's been shared has been a blessing to you, I want to challenge you to give tonight. And I promise you, God's going to bless you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together, running over. He's literally going to send people to be a blessing into your life because of the way you've given to this ministry. And I'm grateful for that. Listen, do me a favor. If you have not already, share this video. I want you to like this video. I want you to love this video, heart this video. I want you to share this video with somebody so that they can see it as they're working out this week or exercising in the morning or working during the day. They can go back and check the replay. If you're watching the replay, I love you and I appreciate you watching a replay of this broadcast. But share this video. Make sure you subscribe to our pages, and then do me a favor. Make plans to meet me this Sunday, 9:08 a.m. sharp, for another very powerful word that I promise you is going to bless you in a tremendous, tremendous way. All right. I love you guys. I did not mean to run over. Every time I say I ain't going to do it, I end up doing it. And Pastor did not mean to do it, but what a powerful message tonight. And I certainly hope it's blessed you in a tremendous way. Okay. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. I'm rooting for you. I want you to have a phenomenal week. And I will look forward to seeing you this Sunday at 9:08 a.m. sharp. All right. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Peace and blessings.
For watching the Rehab Christian Center live experience. If this broadcast has been a blessing to you and you would like to be a blessing to our leader, Dr. Zeb Talley III, you can sow a seed into his ministry by Cash App at $Pastor ZT3. It is our prayer that this message of hope encourage, enlighten, and empower you to be better. Please tune in Sunday at 9:08 a.m. for our Sunday morning experience. And as always, be blessed and have a wonderful week.